Now, what was your closest relationship to Rockingham Park? Was it as a reporter or as a relative or as a visitor or?
All of the above.
All of them?
All of the above.
Okay.
Yeah. For many years, it was as a visitor, of course.
Yeah.
I left here in college days, then went into the service and came back to work with the Eagle Tribune. And actually, along with a gentleman deceased now, Louis Weefers, we covered the first Sweepstakes Race at the park. That was a day in itself. National television. It was promoted for months. It was so promoted that it actually hurt itself. Exactly.
So I heard.
They built a bridge over the track to get people into the infield, as they do like at the Kentucky Derby and other races.
Right.
So they could have the surplus crowd. Everybody would be comfortable. Louis Weefers, who was an editor at the Eagle Tribune, and Louis never drove.
Okay.
So he always had to have a ride someplace.
Okay.
We had our breakfast at the famous track kitchen over there. Everybody's always talking about, they hear how good the food there was. It's not a rumor, it was. Okay. The breakfasts were big, and the prices were very good.
Right.
But, so that particular day, at one point later, when I was nearing retirement, and dabbling a little bit in real estate, for 4 years, I actually worked there, selling the betting tickets, the tote machines.
Very good.
Had a lot of fun, met a lot of people I still know today. Rockingham Park, like many places here in Salem, had several life cycles. The park that is there now, may not be there much longer, is nothing like it was back in the teens of 1900s.
Okay.
It was a whole different facility, a whole different racing perspective. At one point in World War I, it was an Army training camp. The training was a whole different animal in those days than what it is today. It was basically go in, they gave them weapons which are different completely than today's weapons, and made them march and do things like that, and trained them for things to do. There's some people that believe too that when the camp broke up, a lot of the timbers that they had, poles, like telegraph pole size, are sitting in the waters at Canterbury Lake.
Is that right?
On what you would call the northern end of the lake, near, right at the town line.
Right.
The Wyndham and that.
So they also used it as an airfield, right?
There could have been, in those days you had the wooden wings, single engines, and it had that. It had automobile racing. The Indianapolis cars raced here.
Right.
They had a wooden banked track that was so dangerous they finally had to stop it, and they made it a flat path. But all the big name car racers in those days raced here.
Well, was there a big relationship between Canterbury Lake Park and also the mall at Rockingham Park or whatever?
The mall at Rockingham Park was the land was at one time part of Rockingham Park. It was purchased. It served as a occasional parking lot. It was a field. It wasn't paved or anything.
Right.
But on certain days, so many cars and things coming from all over, they had to have that added space. So. That's it. But that was sold a decade or so and made into the Rockingham Hall.
right.
mall
yeah.
at Rockingham Park.
Right, right, right.
They-
I think Doug Seed mentioned they had baseball games and stuff like that.
They
with
did.
Canopy Lake Park and Rockingham Park. People.
The ball playing at Rockingham was actually to the right-hand side.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yes. The jockeys had very good athletes
Yeah, yeah, is that right?
playing softball,
Yeah, yeah.
and they would play softball a lot with Canopy Lake Park people. We've had other discussions about that. But,
Yeah.
Canopy Lake would play the jockeys, police departments from all the towns around here, fire departments, things like that.
Right.
And then all the visiting bands, if they
that's
wanted
true,
to play
too.
ball, they'd entertain it too.
That's
But that's a whole
great.
other story. Around
How
there.
many people do you think that were employed there?
At its peak,
I could probably get a better estimate from Ed Callahan, but I mean, from your point of view, from what you'd see.
well, at the they would run up to 3 shifts a day.
Yeah,
You're talking a couple, 300 people a shift.
wow.
You know, so and that's not counting the people on the grounds, maintaining the racetrack,
Right.
cutting the lawns,
Right.
those things. So it was a big. In the early days, you know, when Salem was really small, it was the biggest employer in the town.
Yeah, yeah, right,
Canopy Lake was second.
right, right.